Alright guys, thank you for clicking on the video today. We are going to be starting on part 2 of the exhaust build, so hopefully we'll finish it up in this video. If it goes too long, I'll split it up into 3 parts, but I'll show you what I got going on right now. So I already got a little bit of a head start on you guys. These are the mufflers I got. I'll give you a better shot of them in a minute, but they're Vibrant Performance 2.5 inch straight through mufflers, so you can see straight through them. So that's the best for performance, and I'm going to be running 2 of those. But as you can see, I already started trimming the bumper so that the tips can come in, and I still gotta cut the bash bar because that's what's in the way now. But I haven't done this side yet, so I can show you guys what it looks like. So if you take a look down here, you can see there's this little cutout in the bottom of the bumper, and that's because the factory exhaust on the outbacks just had a turn down right here. The Legacy GTs, they had a bumper with a cutout for the tips because they had a straight out tip design like that. So that being said, my options would be get a new bash bar and bumper cover for Legacy GT, or just cut this one and make it work with the new exhaust. So we're going with the cheap option, which is just cut this up and make it work. So on this side, I strategically taped and marked and measured and all that stuff to get a good nice cut, and I might have to trim this a little higher. I don't know yet. We'll see how far I can get this muffler to tuck up, but I just wanted to get the tip up high enough and get this, you know, distance set up the way I like it. See, I want to see the writing a little bit, but I don't want it to stick out too far because that's kind of racy. But I had to trim it right here a little bit so that I could push this out enough, because before it was sitting in really far, about 3 inches further in. So I trimmed that so I could hang it out a little bit more. But then yeah, you can see the bash bar up here needs to be trimmed so that this will tuck up more. And then I obviously have to lift up the rear end so it doesn't drag or nothing. So the next step is going to be replicating this cut on that side, and then once that's done, I got to pull the bumper cover off and pull the bash bar off, trim it where I need to trim it, and then paint it black so you can't see it from underneath, and then we could put it back together, and then we'll actually start working on welding the exhaust. But yeah, I'm hoping this muffler will retain the same sound that it has now, just quiet it down a bunch. And it's going to be going from a single 3 inch to dual 2.5 inches, so that's actually increasing the volume, so it shouldn't affect power too much. So the next side is all taped up. I got it marked up to what I'm going to cut out. I'm going to use my Dremel cutoff wheel to cut all that stuff out. Alright, so everything is off. As you can see, I got the bumper and the bash bar off. So now I can do my trimming. So I got the bumper cover off, bash bar off, and you can see where I marked where I'm going to cut. I'm going to try to make it look as OEM as possible, just so that if somebody rear ends me ever, it doesn't raise any eyebrows, you know. So I'm going to try to just make them some nice smooth cuts, and then we're gonna like paint this section black so you can't really see it from the bottom, and then that should do. So I'll bring you back once that's done. All right, I want you to take a look at this beautiful workmanship. So you can see I cut this big chunk out, and I smoothed it with this beam because they're broken up into pieces. So I trimmed that top piece off, smoothed it out into that beam, radiused it so it looks all that. I used an angle grinder for all this, and I just painted it flat black in that spot so it's harder to see. And while I got the bumper in this easily visible spot, I'm going to clean up these holes a little bit, make them look nicer, more even with each other. This one needs a little bit more rounding. It's a little too sharp. That one looks perfect though, but cleaned up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that now. We're gonna put it back together, and then we'll be back once we're actually doing exhaust stuff. All right guys, so since the last clip, I got these hangers made, which I basically took a 1/2 inch stainless steel rod and I bent them into bench vise to get them where they need to be to line up with the hangers. So I got this one, and I ground the edge to like a 1/4 inch flat, and I'm going to tack it onto this muffler right here, and I got everything kind of covered so I don't get too much slag on everything else. keep it looking clean. So I'm gonna get this welded up right now. All right, well the camera wasn't recording, but I tacked it onto that edge right there. Well, not tacked, but I welded it on. It's still kind of flimsy, so I may need to reinforce it in some way. It's a little flimsy for my comfort, so I might have to either bend this down to get it to weld to here on the body as well. I'm not sure yet, I'll have to figure that out. A lot more rigidly mounted, I can't even budge it, so I think that little junk weld will work for what we need it to. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get these 90s cut in half. So I just got two 90s and I marked the top and the bottom of them, which is kind of tricky to do, and I think I got them marked correctly. I'm going to use this chop saw. I'm just going to set them up like this against the back gate and chop them straight down, and hopefully we get two even cuts, and then we can weld those two together and then slide them into that one piece I showed you earlier. I still need to clean these up, but they look really good right now. I think the cut was perfect. I started lining up with one hand, but they line up at the bottom and at the top. So I think this will work. And then, yeah, I'll clean them up, tack them, and then figure out how much I need to cut off for it to fit in that other piece. Okay, so I tacked these two pieces together after I cleaned them up, and you can see they made up pretty good. Probably need to shave one of those down. There we go. Okay, so that's probably about where I'm gonna need to cut it, but you can see they fit in there. There's a little bit of a gap. Hopefully that won't be too hard to fill, but yeah, not too bad. So now I'm gonna go ahead and try and finish welding this piece all the way around. Alright, so my welds have gotten a little bit better. They're still a little boogery, but you can see I ground these ones down a little bit and the weld is gone, but that shouldn't matter because that part's going to get cut off. This side I left a little bit of weld left, so it'll be structurally strong, but I need to figure out where I'm going to cut this now, and then I might have to squeeze this together a little bit more because I think it's a little too wide and I want to get this as smooth as possible, so I might have to squeeze that together, but if I do, it's no big deal. Okay, so this is by no means a showpiece, but it is welded together, and there's one issue, but I think I could fix it. But if you look in here, you can see on the left side there's a little bit of a lip. It's just kind of moved while I was welding it, and it wasn't matched up correctly, so there's a little lip there. But I think if I stick a Dremel into this side, I could probably get it at the right angle and kind of clean it up on the inside, buzz off that edge, and it should be fine. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Alright guys, so I apologize for any background noise. There's some construction going on, but as you can see, I got these two pipes welded together, and I cleaned up the inside because one of the edges was kind of overlapping, so I used a grinding disc on my Dremel. I just kind of ground the edge off, so when you look down there, there's no lip to catch the air on, and it'll flow out better now. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this end of the V-band onto the pipe. Now that I know that this is going to work and I'm not going to have to change it, I'll weld the V-band onto here, and then I'll try to get the section going from my current exhaust done to here, which I think is going to be like a 45, another 45, a little bit of straight, V-band, and then it'll be into here, and then we can deal with this stuff going to the muffler. Alright, so I got this piece all welded up and sound. This is the end that goes into the part that I already made. And I haven't welded it on there because I'm not sure if I'm going to have to trim this to get the angle right. It goes onto there, and then right here we need about 6 inches of straight to go into here to get that to where it needs to sit. Alright, so as you seen in the last clip, the Y pipe is in the car. So now I'm going to be working on from the Y pipe to the mufflers. And what I wanted to do here was weld the V-band to the end of the muffler so that I can kind of rotate it and clock it so that it's straight. And a V-band allows you to, you know, rotate and clamp stuff. So it's a little bit of adjustability as far as appearance goes at the tip. But this is a 2.5 inch inner diameter, so the V-band doesn't slide onto it. So I had to cut this piece of straight that slides into the V-band because these ones are flanged. So if you look at the lip, there's like this is actually like 2.5 inch outer diameter, and then there's a 2.5 inch inner diameter part so that the pipe slides in and butts up flat. So I cut a piece of, it's actually 2.5 inches long, which is convenient because it's a 2.5 inch pipe. But this 2.5 inch piece slides in and bottoms out, and it leaves me like an 1/8 inch, a little less than 1/8 of an inch of gap between the V-band and the muffler. So I'm just going to use one pass with the welder and weld up both of these seams, and it should give it a pretty clean look depending on how good of a weld I can do. But that's the plan. We're going to fill in this gap, get that welded, do that on both mufflers. Alright, so if you take a look down here, you can see the muffler and the Y. So this is the connection that needs to be made. But if you look at it from the back, there's quite an elevation change there. So it's going to have to be kind of a complex angle. Okay, so right here you can see I got this 9-inch piece of pipe that I cut. And I'm going to weld a 90 onto one of the ends. And then kind of fit it up right here. And then kind of angle it until I see it's pointing in the right direction. Mark it, cut it at that angle, weld it to the Y, and then figure out what angled pipe I need to plug into the V-band on this side. And that should get me where I need to be. So I'm gonna do that right now. All right, so muffler's not exactly lined up to where it needs to be, but the clamps aren't completely tight yet. So I think once I tighten them all the way, they should line up better, and I could probably figure out some way to tweak the hangers to make it sit where I want it to. But as you can see, I got this section all tacked together, and basically what I had to do, I had this piece, and this was like 9 inches long, and it was supposed to just go into a bend directly to here, but it was hitting the sway bar, and the angle was so weird because I was having to angle it down and twist it to line up with this. So what I ended up doing was welding a 90 to this V-band, and then welding a 45 to the 90, and that allowed me to rotate it until I got the right clocked angle, and then I cut this to the right size, and it all tacked together well. So now I just need to do is pull this piece out again, and then actually finish welding all these seams, and then I can move on to doing this side, which is hopefully going to be easier than that was, because that was a pain in the butt. So let's get on to it. All right, so if you look, it's pretty close to the top. I need to do a little bit more trimming, I think, but I rotated it so that when you look at it from the back, the muffler's level, and I rotated it using the V-band. Right here, I rotated it. So obviously I need to do some more trimming, and it kind of pushed it off to this side. So I'll probably just come in here and clearance it a little bit more, because it looks better this way than it did the other way. So I'll just do that, but this is what it looks like, and then we got to go this way with the rest of the stuff. But I think it's not too bad. I think it looks pretty good. I just got to make the other side match. I didn't film the second part, but I pretty much just did exactly what I did on that side to this side, with that 19-inch pipe in the middle, and overall it looks okay. From the back, you can see the mufflers, they're angled correctly, and the gap around the bumpers correct. From the side, they look good, but the only problem is this one is further in than this one is, and that bugs me. So I can't really do anything about it at this point. Once I figure out a way to move it and stretch it, I don't think I could do that. So I might just have to live with it right now. It's probably just gonna bug me. I don't think anybody else is gonna notice it really, but so far I guess it's okay. Now we're gonna go do our first cold start, see if there's any leaks or anything, see what it sounds like. Way quieter. Thank you for watching the video today. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.